6:30 on Monday, May the 8th, and my name is Zon Eastis, and I will call this meeting of the Select Board to order. Welcome to everyone here in the room. Hello. I want to make sure if you're in the room that you've signed up on the sheet over there so we can have a record of everyone. And it looks like one's name's on there. Welcome to folks online as well. So I see Sheila Adams is in the waiting room. So, all right, we'll start at the very beginning here with the rules of procedure. Ask Rusty to read those.
Sure. The Select Board has adopted a new set of rules and procedures. They are no longer the Select Board rules of procedure. They are for all Guilford public body meetings and now have been shared with all committees and commissions. They are here in the chat online and published on the town website. These rules request that everyone present at the meeting conduct themselves in a civil manner. Tonight, individuals will have a reasonable time to comment on actions the Select Board is considering. Comments and questions will inform the Select Board's decision-making process. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments will be heard, not responded to. There will be no exchange between the Select Board and a commenter. No questions will be responded to. Any questions raised will be recorded and responded to in a timely fashion. Additionally, here in the room and in the chat line, there is basic information which includes how to contact Select Board members, how to secure a spot during the community portion of the meeting, how to get on the agenda, how to communicate with the board via mail or email.
Thank you. All right, so now we'll move to the welcoming of the public. This is the portion of the meeting in which we give over a little time for the community to just speak to other folks in town. So, Miranda.
Okay, so Gary, do you want to come here and you can just pull your chair up if you want to, or if you would like to stand, you may.
It's a slider.
Yeah, it's really easy. Okay.
Good evening, folks. My name is Gary Knapp. I live on the Hall Road and have for the past 30 years. Prior to that, I lived on the Center Road for about 5 years. Prior to that, I lived on Potter Hill in the woods for a couple of years. And prior to that, for 15 or so years, I lived on Barney Hill Road on the farm. I'm here this evening to express my concern of what I see as an escalating issue within the town of speeding and tailgating. Specifically on Weatherhead Hollow Road. To quote Dickie Clark, who said a few years ago, "This is not the same town that I grew up in." What used to be a relatively quiet farm town has turned into a bedroom community with a racetrack going in and out of it. What I would like the Select Board to consider doing is reducing the speed limit on Weatherhead Hollow Road from the Yard Road all the way to the state line. I hold a Class A CDL license with over 2 million miles logged in a commercial vehicle, and it is spotless. I was a driving instructor, tractor-trailer driving instructor in the Army for a few years. I've never had so much as a parking ticket with a commercial vehicle, and I consider myself a pretty good judge of driving ability and speed, okay? Things are getting way out of hand, man. People routinely drive down Weatherhead Hollow Road 60 plus miles per hour. There have been a couple of wrecks in the last couple of weeks. It has been my observation that this kind of is about a 70-30 thing. There's a lot of people in Leiden or North Greenfield that are commuting to work in Brattleboro or whatever and are flying down the Hollow Road to get to work. There's a number of local residents, some live on Packers Corners, that in the past have flown down the road. There's a handful of kids with loud diesel trucks that routinely fly down the road. It has been my observation that occasionally motorcycles exceed the speed limit, and I'm not talking about the guys that ride the big road bikes. I'm talking about kids, usually with two-stroke sport bikes. There are a number of elderly people that routinely walk down the road. There are some bicyclers that use the hollow road. There are skiers and there are skaters and there are a number of people that walk their dogs or just go out for a walk. It is increasingly becoming a dangerous situation. I don't know what the answer to all of this is, because it is greater than just breaking the law. It seems to be, in my opinion, all of this is in my opinion, but it seems to be an attitude issue where the rules don't apply to me. I have important stuff to do and I'm going to drive at my own pace. Okay? Routinely, I have come down the center road to make a left-hand turn onto the hollow road, which is a 90-degree turn. I drive a big 3/4 ton pickup, and you can't go around that corner at a high speed. I've had people so close to me that they blow their horn because I'm not making the corner quite quick enough. I have been pulling into my driveway at the end of the day, and people so close to me that they blow their horn because I'm not pulling into my driveway quite quick enough. Okay? I have a number of recommendations on how we could address this issue. And the first would be some little speed signs that are alerting to people how fast they are actually going, okay? The state of Vermont is coming up with an auction in the very near future, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of those signs would be available. And to go along even and taking that a little bit further, if a camera could be installed into that type of a unit, very similar as in a toll booth, when you're going through it with an easy pass, bang, we have your phone, we have your license plate number, we know who the offender is. The town has the ability to assess, not really fines, but assess interest for late delinquent tax bills, dog licenses, and whatever else the town has the power to do. I don't see why they couldn't assess fines for speed limits. Okay. To take that one step further, if we could find a sheriff's car or a state police car and just park it on the side of the road and equip it with some kind of a monitor where as you're flying down the road exceeding the speed limit, the blue lights come on just for a second. Okay? I've traveled all over this country in my lifetime, and there was a town down in Florida where there was a sign out front that said, "Welcome to," whatever the town's name was. Drive through our town and enjoy the scenery at the speed limit. Speed through here and enjoy our jail. Okay? I don't want to see the town spend a whole bunch of money hiring the sheriff's department or hiring the state police or doing whatever. And I sincerely don't want to hammer on people for exceeding the speed limit by a couple of miles an hour. But I want to see these little old ladies that are walking down the hollow road or riding their bicycles or walking their dogs or whatever, to be able to do it safely with some level of serenity. It's just getting way out of hand. And I lost a dog a few years ago that got hit by a kid that lived out on Sweet Pond Road that was flying down the road, way exceeding the speed limit. Hit my dog and killed it. It died in my arms, and the kid offered to buy me a new dog until I told him what it cost. And then he went on to tell me about how his work hours had been cut back and blah, blah, blah.
Excuse me, Gary, I
Certainly.
don't want to cut you off. We just have a certain amount of time. And I really appreciate your coming here, and I'm not sure exactly what we can do with your suggestions, but I like hearing them and we're gonna work on it.
Well, Verandas, like I've told you before, I would be glad to come out with any kind of mutually beneficial situation to do. I just want to see people slow down and feel safe in town.
I hear you, and I appreciate your coming.
Okay?
Okay,
Thanks
thanks
very
so
much.
much. You're welcome to stay for our fascinating meeting.
Well,
I know we haven't much time left for a community comment, but I did want to note to the people who are here now watching and who might see this on TV if they haven't already noted, that Addie Minot passed away recently. And I wanted to read a tiny little thing from Addie about the dam, okay? The struggle over the dam brought the community closer together. When the dam went out, the state said, "We want it out of here. It's broken, let it go." It was wrenching to think of it. The fish had made their passage with the dam for 200 years. I've been looking at that dam for 50 years. I thought, no way will we give up. That's our history. We argued and prevailed. It was a huge local effort. It would have cost twice as much in Connecticut. Luckily, Addison could recreate the dam the way it was. We didn't have to pay engineering fees. We donated hemlock off Pulpit Mountain. We had people with tractors and bandsaws who trimmed them up. People who worked on the dam gave their labor or worked for less. So you see, the world hasn't gone to hell in a handbasket yet, at least not around here. So that was Addie.
Thank you.
rest in peace, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Sad news. All right, let's move on in the agenda to changes to the agenda order. I don't think there are any this evening. Okay. Then we'll approve the minutes of the April 24th meeting. So I need a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Misty. Is there any conversation here at the select board about any adjustments, anything we need to note? All right, then I will take the roll. Let's see, you know what? I think we can do this differently now that we're all in the same room. I don't think I have to actually take the roll. I can simply ask for a voice vote. And we haven't done that for 3 years. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, thank you.
Wow,
Wow.
milestone.
Little markers. All right. Okay, then we'll move on to the next area of our agenda, which is updates and reports. And we have 2 this evening, one from the Highway Department. And then we'll have a visit with Jen McDuffie from the Energy Committee. So let's start with the Highway Department. And Dan's not here tonight, so Erica will provide that report.
Yep. So I give a lot of credit to Sheila Morris, who put this wonderful report together. She basically just gathered all the pertinent information about everything that's happening currently with the highway department, which is, as always, a lot. We just put out 2 requests for proposals. One is for paving about 2 miles of Weatherhead Hollow Road, from Yaw Road down to Baker Cross Road. So that's gonna get done by September. It's out for bids right now. And there's another request for proposals out for erosion work in 4 different segments of road. There's a segment on Borkowski, one on Sweet Pond, one on Campbell, and one on Cemetery Hill. And they're just about 800 feet long segments of places where the erosion is bad enough where the ditches and culverts need to be replaced. So that's out for bid right now too, and both of those will hopefully be finalized. The deadline is May 22nd, so that's a select board meeting and we can hopefully vote on who gets those bids. The Jelly Mill Bridge replacement is done pretty much. A membrane and paving still needs to be done, but that's gonna be I don't know, sometime soon. The Briggs Road Bridge will be finished this week. So that's good news.
Right.
That's not all. That's not all. So we're catching up on equipment purchases that didn't happen during COVID. So this year, we've already approved a Kubota tractor and a chipper, which are gonna happen. We've got the mower, the Kubota tractor mower. The chipper is imminent. In fiscal year 24, that's after July, there will be a grader to purchase, and that's a $250,000 expense, and the source of funds for that will be a capital expense fund, capital reserve fund. There's another up and coming job, which is ledge repair on Guilford Center Road across from Windsor Drive. This is gonna include partial road closure on that road, so Danny wants to wait till school's out, which is amazing of him. And school is out on June 16th, so that'll happen shortly after that. He has let us know his intention to hire a part-time road crew person for the summer. All the money needed to do that will come from unspent winter wages from this past year, and so 7 weeks remaining in this year and 14 weeks from July to September. So the source of fund is reduced overtime wages from the general budget from this coming year too. That's not a lot. And then a big one that is just sort of coming up, not gonna happen immediately, but it's really, really on top of our mind, and Danny wants to get it done and it needs to get done, is the Fitch Road Bridge. So we've got an estimate, a very rough estimate on that of $1.5 million. It could be less depending on multiple factors. Who can do it for how much, an engineering study if we need extra ones or not, and the availability of a prefabricated bridge deck. So if we can get one of those, it could be less than that. So we're in the process now of collecting grants and looking at the funds that we can use to make that happen.
All right, yes.
I would just like to add that for the temporary road crew hire, that we're not looking to hire someone, it's Alan Belleville.
Yeah.
Who served the town for, I think, 30 years or around.
Something like that.
Yeah, so,
Yep, that's
so we're
right.
not outsourcing, we already have somebody
That's right.
in mind.
Thank you, Tara, that's right. Okay, so I think unless you guys have Anything else? I think that's.
And so will this report be posted someplace for people who want to read it?
I think we could make it, that's a good question, which has come to the select board. So we have a spot on our website, questions to the select
Yes.
board. And we
Oh,
can just
okay.
attach the
We can.
document there. And so
Oh, great.
probably need to edit it a bit,
A bit.
but yeah, there are a few things we need to adjust, but then, yeah, we can put it up.
But it's a great document.
Yeah, it's a very good document.
Yes,
It gives a
thank
very
you.
clear knowledge, understanding of what monies are to be spent and what the sources of the funds are, so the community can see that very well. It's good. Great, thank you. All right, Jen, you want to come talk with us about the Energy Committee and this MERP application?
Yeah.
Pull a chair up here.
Evening all. I'm Jen McDuffie and I'm a member of the Guilford Energy Committee, and I am the liaison with the Regional Planning Commission for the Municipal Energy Resilience Program, or MERP. And these are state funds that are from the Vermont Building and General Services, and they are put out in 4 phases. We are on phase 2. And every municipality may apply for up to $4,000. And Guilford is going to apply for the entire $4,000. You all got a copy of the application and 2 little charts that I made to try to give you some guidance to explain how we're proposing to spend this $4,000. Margot Gia, who is the regional planning person, I've been talking to her every step of this way. She could probably write my proposal for me, but she knows exactly what we're doing. She's on board with it. She thinks it's a good idea. So our application is a whole bunch of administrative stuff, which I will thank Erica for promptly answering all my questions about what's this number and what's that number. And then you go to number 16, which is where in the application they ask you just generally what categories you're going to spend this money on. And you see which ones I have checked. And then the additional piece of paper explains exactly how we're going to be allocating those funds. The stipends are hard numbers. They are honorariums or donations to the 4 groups that are coming to do these 4 seminars. The Energy Committee, we are going to be doing parts of the seminars ourselves. The one from V-Bike, we're going to be doing a small presentation on our e-bikes that we got. And a little bit of this money may be going to help purchase additional things we need for the e-bikes. And then we're also on the home heating one, which is going to include weatherization, because everybody knows if you don't weatherize your home, you get a new heating system, it doesn't do any good. So we're going to be doing a little presentation on our window dressers. And then under flyers, what we're really going to spend that money on is postcards. And that number is solid because I got 3 estimates from 3 different printing companies. And then community meetings, it's for food, hall rental, and hiring a videographer. The videographer number is solid because that's the average of 3 numbers that I got. And then if we have money left over, if all of my numbers are good, these 4 seminars are going to cost us about $3,000. But we're asking for $4,000. That's in case things cost more than they're supposed to. And if we have money left over, I've talked to several people about, and then Erica or somebody told me that the town also has someone who works on the website. But the Energy Committee would really like to have a page on the website. And so any leftover money after we pay for these seminars is going to go towards building a website page. So in a nutshell, that's the explanation. We'd like you to approve the application so I can submit it tomorrow. And if you have any questions,
Okay, the question that commonly comes with any grant application, is there any matching dollars involved?
There's
So
no
it's a straight
matching
out-
dollars, there's
it's a
no
grant.
overhead, it's $4,000, spend it.
All right.
And then write us a report and tell us where you spent every single solitary penny.
Yeah, of course, that's required, always, yes, exactly. All right, does anybody here at the board level have any questions for Jen? Okay, then I think.
So I think this is great work, and so the choice of the topics for the workshops, Energy 101, was that, and then it says school question mark, was that about holding it at the school or having,
No, it's the possibility that the location for that may need to be at the school.
oh, I see, I'm sorry, I should have realized that the second line wasn't more about the topic of the workshop, was about the place for it, got it. Okay,
And you guys may remember when I came to speak to you before, it was about the results of the
Yes.
community input. So that's where those 4 topics came from.
mhm.
Great. Good.
Right, so the pollinators isn't going to be,
The pollinators, because it isn't really energy
Right.
related, although I can make you an argument that it is.
it's adjacent anyway.
But the Neighborhood Roots and the Conservation Commission has taken that one over. And
Okay.
it is going to happen, but
Mhm.
it's not going to be Energy Committee.
Okay, terrific,
So is there a motion to approve this
I
application?
so move.
Thank you, Brenda. Is there a second? Michael, thank you. All right, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any opposed? I didn't see any mouths quiet. All right, no abstentions either then, so that one passes. Thank you, Jim.
Great, thank you.
We'll get that
We'll
submitted
submit
tomorrow.
it tomorrow.
All right, appreciate it very much. Appreciate all your work on that. All right, folks, now we move to old business. This is topics that we've seen before, and we're just revisiting some of them. Today, we will be looking at our decision about newspaper of record. Recall that as a normal pro forma course of business, in March, we normally name a paper of record, newspaper of record, and for the year. We have to do that every year. At our last meeting, we had a discussion about whether or not it would be the Brattleboro Reformer or the Commons. You may recall that Barry Oleshnik was at that meeting and spoke, and he then supplied us with a fair amount of information, and Erica followed up. Do you want to have a thing or two to say, Erica?
I do. I just want to applaud the fact that both the Commons and the Reformer have local connection to Guilford. So thank you, Barry, for all your hard work here. So the real question here is the cost benefit. So I will just tell you guys what the 2 different costs would be. The Reformer charges $27 per column inch plus a $10 fee to get the announcement online. I just ran one in the Saturday paper, and it was just very small, as small as possible, about an inch tall, and it was $45. Their circulation for the Saturday paper is about 6,000 people. Daily, it's a little bit less, 5,138. The Commons, Barry tells us, let's see, the Commons is $15 per column inch, so it's a lot less money per column inch, so you could maybe, excuse me. Okay. Yeah.
Do you want a cough drop? I have one.
Do you?
Yes.
Sorry, so their circulation is about 8,000 a week. And
Thank you, Tara. Oh, you're welcome.
You just got something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is all the hairball.
I was mowing today and I got a fly right in my mouth. I didn't have to talk to anybody. I don't know what happened. You be all right?
Yeah.
Erica, would you like Zan just to read what's on the page so you
Well-
could?
Here,
There's
see.
just one more element.
Oh, yes. Another element in us analyzing this is that the Commons has no paywall for seeing information on their website, whereas the Brattleboro Reformer does eventually, and you can, see a few editions, but then there's a paywall.
So what do you mean by paywall?
You have to subscribe in order to see information. So
Okay.
when you get the, up to a certain point. you
For the
might-
reformer,
For the Reformer, but
But-
not for the Commons.
but the Commons isn't set up for online quite yet, they're working on it,
They're working on
right?
it, it's coming very soon.
Okay.
I don't know what the timing is for that. One other consideration is for us, thank you, Erica, you can be okay?
Yeah.
One other consideration for us is that, and apparently other communities do this, I believe, is to name, for instance, the Commons as the paper of record and use the Reformer as backup if schedules don't allow us to meet our needs. That would be naming both papers actually as the paper of record is a way to go. And then, but tending to use one more than the other. And we also got information from Barry about a number of towns that have made the switch, and they're successful. Feeling good about that. So,
And so those towns have reported that it's worked out well for them? That's what we have learned?
yes. So I think, I don't know if that's enough information for us to make a decision this evening. I feel like it is, I feel like we could at least put a motion on the floor, on the table here, and then continue discussing it if we need to. So why don't I'll move that we name the Brattleboro Commons as the newspaper of record with the proviso that we use the Brattleboro Reformer as our backup as schedules require it.
I'll second it.
All right, Misty, thank you. Any discussion?
Just curious about how often do we need to, these aren't like articles about what's going on in Guilford. This is just posting a notice, correct?
Like, yeah, for instance, when Erica just had to put bids up.
Oh, yes, I know.
RFP requests, those
Yeah.
have to be done in a particular way. Or if we have special meetings, those have to be done
Right.
in a particular way. When we have town meetings, those have to be done in a certain way. So there are a number, it's not a big number, I would say, but it's, it might be, just guessing.
Is there a number, you said 6,000 people view the Reformer, do we have a number for who sees the Commons?
8,000 is what they print, they print 8,000.
Okay,
And I think the Brattleboro Reformer's circulation is both print and online, is their number. So we don't have the same number for the Commons. Is that fair to say?
I think digital is hard to know, it's hard to gauge.
I see.
Although for the Reformer, it would be a subscription, so I think that you're right.
what line item would this be for the budget? Is it marketing, is it subscriptions? Do we
I
know?
don't know the answer to that.
There's and notices.
I think I would like to know how much we spend, because if it's information that needs to be out, of course I don't wanna spend more money, but I have a hard time not wanting it to be in both papers.
Yeah. I see
So I
what you
don't
mean.
know if we spend $300 a year on getting information in papers and we're only spending if we have a budget of 300 and if we're only spending 150, I would just like to know those numbers before I feel I can make a decision. But I can also abstain
We
from the
weren't,
vote.
we weren't gonna be putting it in both, we were gonna put it in one or the other.
I think it-
Right.
One or the other is
Well, I
Yeah.
think one or
But
the
I think
other.
Tara is suggesting that we put it in both, and I know Barry has his hand up, but we need to, I'm wondering what kind of crossover there is between the people who read, I tend to read both. I do subscribe to the Reformer, and I pick up the Commons, but I don't know whether, I like the idea of putting it in both. I don't know whether we could have, two newspapers of record, or just recognize that, not to have to call it one or the other, but
I think, I'll respond there. I think that what we most want to do is to be clear with the community what we're doing. And if we were to choose just one paper or the other, depending upon which is most convenient, that might get to be really problematic. I think we need to probably make a commitment to one paper or the other, and use the other when it's not, when it doesn't work, or possibly use both. The way I would answer your question, since we don't have the numbers right
Right.
now, would be something like, potentially abstain, but another option would be that we could do an analysis of the budget rather than waiting another 2 weeks. We could say that if it meant doubling the budget, then that's not something we want to do, or
Right,
something like
correct.
that.
I understand that.
Let's see. I see that Barry's hand is up.
Yes, I have two clarifications. One is about the website traffic. The Commons ad department has calculated or has affirmed an ad reaches 20,000 people. The 8,000 number that I gave you, as you know, was about the print edition. That's the number that we distribute. And we suspect that 7/8 of that actually reaches households around the county. So 8,000 is the print edition, but 20,000 is the total circulation, including the web, which, as you mentioned, Zahn, as I mentioned last week, it's being revamped any day now. The new website will be rolled out, and it will be even better and probably more attractive. And of course, as the important bottom line is, there will never be a paywall for that. So our numbers, my main point is that we have a 20,000 circulation, including the website. And if you said that the other paper has 5,000 or 6,000, which surprised me until somebody mentioned that includes the web as well, the paywalled web. So the numbers are clear there. The other thing I wanted to say, as a Guilforder, I would feel a little bit sheepish if we chose to start advertising in both papers, because the reason why I brought this forward, half of the reason why I brought this forward, frankly, is in order to save us money, in order to save Guilford money. And I ran the numbers, as you heard last meeting, and we reach more eyeballs for less cost. So that's what with my Guilford hat on, that was my wherewithal for coming here with that. So I would feel a little bit sheepish if I was the cause of increasing that budgetary line item instead of decreasing it. But that's my personal thing, and you could discount that if you want, because that's just me.
No, it's important to have your voice, Barry, so thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor that we name the Brattleboro Commons as the paper of record, but hold the Reformer as a backup when it's needed for scheduling purposes. Can we vote? Think we can
Yes.
vote? All right, so I'll do this by voice and see how we do. All right, so all in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
I
All right, thanks. All right, so we'll go, there we have it. We'll be changing, so we'll need to follow up with the necessary steps and so.
And I would just like to figure out, what our budget is, because I think basically I'd like to have us move toward having our announcements in both papers, because I don't know how much crossover there is in terms of where people get their news.
I hear you, for readership and connection.
Yeah.
Yep, I hear that.
Support.
Yeah, support, yeah, exactly, local support, yeah, all of that. So let's make a note that for the next meeting, we'll have a little bit more figures that'll just continue the conversation. Won't change the decision, but continue the conversation, maybe another action. Does that seem okay? All right, so that would be an action to be taken. All right. Budget. All right, thank you. Now we'll go to new business. And although this is business that we have seen before, these specific pieces of business we've never seen before. So we'll be looking at some liquor licenses this evening. It looks like we have, 4 of them?
There are 5 from
5.
2 different vendors. One is, there are 2 just for an event to be held at the fairgrounds from the Stone Church. And that event is on
June 3rd.
So they want to be, what is it? There's 2 different ones. There's a request to cater and a festival permit. So that's 2 for the same event from the Stone Church, and then there are 3 from the Green River Bridge Inn. One is for outside consumption, one is a first-class license, and one is a third-class license.
All right, so I think that just to be clear, and so we don't tie things up too much, we should probably deal with these separately. At least not 5, but the 2 organizations. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. So would there be a motion to approve the one on June 3rd at the fairground? There are 2 of them for the June 3rd at the fairgrounds.
Also,
Thanks, Rusty. Second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Sharon.
Do we know what the functions are? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's under our purview, I was just curious.
Well, I happen to know that June 3rd, because both my grandsons, it's a rock band.
Oh.
It's a whole 10 hours of rock bands. So we're going to hear it next door. So, yeah. So the Stone Church is, they're starting to do more. They did this last year rather quickly, and I think they're making more of an effort than they really hope that. What I understand is that they hope to be able to do once in the summer each year at the fairgrounds, a festival kind of thing in Guilford,
Oh,
which is
sounds
great for
great.
the town, yeah. So, yeah.
Great for the fairgrounds too.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Can we vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Barry, your hand is still up, but that's from your previous comment. Yeah? Okay, all right. All right.
Yes, I will remove my hand somehow.
Just get rid of those things, right?
Got it.
Got it, thank you. All right, then we have 3 liquor license requests from the Green River Bridge Inn. We have a motion for those?
also moving it.
Thanks, Rusty. Second?
I'll second.
All right, Michael, next door neighbor. All right, good. Is there any discussion about those that we need to?
Well, they
pick
did
up?
show
You're
up.
here, right?
Wouldn't they
Yeah.
like to talk to us?
Maybe anything you want to say? You're all.
Well, I actually have a question because we're having some success with the events that we're having at the inn, with the brunch we're having and the dinners we're having, and we expect that might increase here in the summer. And one of the issues or questions or concerns is the parking out in front of the inn. And there are not any no parking signs there, so we're not sure how we should try to, if we should somehow control that, somehow
Control.
mark, that they can't park there, or should the town do that, or is it okay what people have been doing up till now? So we just want to make sure that we don't cause a problem. We've worked with some of the neighbors to try to get some parking. We're working with another neighbor to try to sort out some parking there behind the church. So we can
I'm sure-
avoid any problems there.
I'm sure we won't have an answer this evening, so we'll
Okay.
look into it. But
That'd
thank
be
you for
great.
the question, and we'll get an answer one way or another somehow, or at least a discussion will ensue. How about that?
Fantastic.
All right, thanks. All
Thank
right. Okay, we'll take a vote then on these 3 liquor licenses. All in favor? Say
Aye.
Thank you, aye. All right, so any opposed? Okay, thank you, that passes. All right, so now we'll move on, folks. Thanks very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank
Now we'll move on to the warrants this evening.
Okay.
Miranda?
Yes, well, I just wanted to mention that Tara is going to be taking over the warrants, and I'm really glad because she's a lot more savvy in terms of business. So you'll be hearing from her next.
Good.
So, with that in mind, I move that we pay the following warrants. Payroll week 4/30/23 for the sum of $7,200.02. Payroll week 5/7/23 for the sum of $6,910.21. Expense warrant number 2321 for the sum of $20,489.31 for a grand total of $34,599.54.
I'll second that. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, well, the interesting invoices, as we like to call them, or invoices of interest, for diesel to Barrows and Fisher, the sum of $19.96.12, $1,996.12 for diesel. For Peter Hannon, for cemetery maintenance, the sum of $1,015, and Peter notes that this invoice will be the last from him. He's handing this job over to Rory Lincoln, who grew up in Guilford, Jeannie Seymour's son.
Oh,
And he's been working with Peter for a long time, so this is like the shout out to Peter Hannon. Thank you so much if you're watching somehow or will watch, but for everybody else, Peter's done a very devoted stint of service for many years. And welcome to Rory. Okay, the Vermont State Treasurer, $819 for dog licenses, and there were 175 dog licenses. If you still haven't gotten there, there's still time, you can sneak in. Okay, various vendors, approximately $4,500 for highway equipment and vehicle repair. And this is like Danny is keeping those vehicles running, and that's what it added up to. So thank you so much for helping me be a warrant reader, Erica. And good luck, Tara.
Thank you.
is there any further discussion about the warrants?
I do have a question,
Sure.
and it's in the highway invoices, and Dan's not here, but there's multiple, I know that you mentioned it earlier, there's multiple figures of 6659 for each vehicle. Now,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Who's the vendor?
I mean-
I'm sorry.
I think it might be Royco distributors, and I just don't know what would be 6659. I'm curious. I'm probably wasting town time here, but I'm curious because nothing I buy for a truck is 6659. So I don't know if it's an air
Oh, you know
filter
what?
or.
Yeah, I think it was a bunch of, something like that, or oil filters.
Sounds like
yeah,
filters,
oil
yeah.
filters, and that's still a great deal. So, all right, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, I
'cause there's a
noticed
lot of
that
on
because
there.
it was a lot of
Yeah,
multiples
yeah.
of something, so I
Thank
did.
you,
yeah.
oil filters, that's what I thought. Okay.
A volume buying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got it right down there.
Oh,
Danny.
look at all of them. Yeah.
That's a good deal.
All right, so So we have the warrants, a motion in front of us has been seconded. As there no further discussion, we'll take the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that, any opposed? All right, no abstentions either, heard by voice. All right, thank you, that passes. Thank you for your studiousness, Brenda, on all this time. That's very much appreciated. Okay, there's no other business for us to come before the select board this evening in the other business category. We do have a couple of communications that we'd like to mention, so I'm asking Michael to speak to those, please.
Okay, we received a thank you from Fred Brunig, thanking us for moving forward on the Declaration of Inclusion initiative last September. And Fred has invited the select board, and I believe public in general, to an event in Burlington to celebrate that action with other communities that also joined on Wednesday, May 10th from 7 to 8:30 at College Street Congregational Church in Burlington. And there's a link that he sent us, and I think we could make that available to anyone who might be interested in attending that event. And then secondly, the select board has received notice of an appeal made to the Superior Court of Vermont by Jason Herron. The appeal is in regard to decisions that were made by the select board and potential violations of open meeting law procedure. In order for the suit to go forward, the select board is waiting for the notice of appeal to be formally served. And that's it.
Thank you. All right. Actions from a previous meeting, they're noted there on the agenda. We approved the minutes of the April 10th meeting, and we approved warrants. Actions taken this evening, and bear with me as I make sure we've got this correct. We approved the minutes of the last meeting. We approved the application by the Energy Committee for a municipal, I won't get that right, MERP application, I'm sorry. We can spell that out elsewhere. We also approved a motion to name the Brattleboro Commons as the paper of record for Guilford with a fallback on the reformer. We approved in 2 motions 5 liquor license requests, and we approved the warrants. Yes, thank you. We approved the warrants, and that is all the action that we took this evening. We have actions to be taken, and that's that we're going to continue discussion about the related to the newspaper of record, looking at our budget to see what might be possible for potentially including both information in both newspapers. So we'll look at that another time. All right, with all of that in hand, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I have one for actions to be taken. Can we add talking about the speed issue to the next meeting? And I would like, maybe Erica could dig up some information of what we've spent in the past on patrolling. Because I think that Gary had some good ideas. I really liked his booby trap idea. Putting the sheriff and having lights go on. I mean, that's fun.
That would be funny.
But I'd like to know what we've spent in the past on sheriffs or state troopers to actually have patrolling during certain hours to hold people accountable for speeding. So I'd like to discuss that.
Okay, make sure that goes on the agenda. All right, good. So my suggestion still stands that I would accept a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
All right, Rusty, thank you. Is there a second?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any opposed? All right, thanks very much, folks.